Nokia's range of 2017 phones has impressed, so can it continue with the flagship Nokia 8 that offers top-end specs for a lower price than rivals? Here's our full Nokia 8 review. Nokia 8 price. In a similar vein to OnePlus, one of the big advantages with these new Nokia phones made by HMD is that they are a decent chunk cheaper than rival phones in the same category. For the Nokia 8, you can get one outright for just £499, which was the price of a flagship phone a few years ago. You can also Amazon and Carphone Warehouse for £399, making these a bit of a bargain. Nokia 8 design and build. It's becoming increasingly difficult to make the design of a smartphone something new and interesting. We've got to the point where almost every conceivable shape and material has been used. This is especially true when a new device doesn't have a bezel-free design, so the front is almost entirely taken up by the screen. The Nokia 8 is a victim of this problem, and there are elements of the design which could appear to be taken from various other phones. The handset looks a bit like the HTC U11 but with a metal rear casing instead of glass, with plastic ends for the antennas. It looks and feels quite nice with rounded edges, helping the Nokia 8 fit in the hand nicely. It's also reasonably light for its size at 160 grams, but it's just a bit on the boring side of things, a sort of nothing to see here kind of deal. 4 colors are available: tempered blue, polished blue, steel, and polished copper. A lower price point than many rivals means you don't quite get all the flagship features you might hope for. The main thing here is that the Nokia 8 is not waterproof. Its IP54 rating means it's dust and water resistant. In other words, it can get a bit wet but you can't submerge it. Nokia 8 specs and performance. Screen at 5.3 in. The Nokia 8 has a rather unusual screen size. It's not the most ideal situation with so many similarly sized phones having a larger display, typically around 5.5 inches. The screen-to-body ratio here doesn't even reach 70%, so it's a similar problem to the Xperia XZ1. Bezels aside, the screen is nice and bright when needed, and the Quad HD resolution 1440 by 2560 means that everything is superbly crisp. The main difference if you compare its LCD panel to an LED phone is the contrast. Blacks are closer to gray and white is on the red side of things, although the latter makes it more like a reading mode, so can be more comfortable to look at. Processor, memory and storage. The Nokia 8 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor with 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage. You get 6 GB of RAM in the cheaper OnePlus 5, but for some the inclusion of a microSD card slot will be more useful. You can add up to 256 GB more. Connectivity and audio. Like core specs, connectivity options are becoming pretty standard too. To that end, the Nokia 8 has dual-band 11 acres Wi-Fi, GPS, NFC and Bluetooth 5.0. Although it's only got Cat9 LTE, that won't make a noticeable difference compared to devices with a theoretical faster peak download speed. As mentioned earlier, there's a headphone jack, so you don't need to rely on USB-C or wireless headphones. Some fairly basic in-ear headphones are included in the box. Fingerprint scanner. Having a fingerprint sensor for security is reliable and easy, and the Nokia 8 is below the screen where, arguably, it's the most useful. However, there are some issues with the sensor. Cameras. As ever, cameras are important, and it's perhaps a slight surprise to find dual lenses at the back at this price. Nokia has opted for two 13MP cameras, with one offering a color sensor and the other monochrome rather than a telephoto or wide-angle option. There's an IR rangefinder, dual-tone flash, f2.0 aperture and optical image stabilization, but the latter is only found on the color sensor. Battery life inside the Nokia 8 is a 3090 mAh battery, which is about average for a flagship phone this size. The phone doesn't feature wireless charging but does support Quick Charge 3.0, and a fast charger is included in the box. You can get 49% with a 30-minute charge, which is impressive. Nokia 8 software and apps. The Nokia 8 doesn't ship with the latest version of Android 8.0 Oreo, so for now it's got 7.1.1 Nougat. However, an upgrade is on the way. Specs. Our verdict: although the Nokia 8 offers some decent specs for the price, it's just not a device that stands out in a crowded market. Build quality should be better and the fingerprint scanner can be a real pain.